We spent your savings on the kitchen Reno, Mom shrugged. You still live here, so it helps you. My stomach dropped, a cold dread washing over me as the screen flashed. 0. My entire life savings, every single dollar I'd worked for, was gone. And it wasn't a stranger who took it, it was my own family. It wasn't a sudden explosion, no shouting or slamming doors. It was a quieter kind of rupture, the kind that starts as a hairline fracture and ends in a full, silent break deep inside your chest. My name's Lucas. I'm 28, and until 3 weeks ago, I was still living at home in Seattle, under the same roof I grew up in. Yeah, I know, not exactly ideal for someone pushing 30, but I had a plan. A solid, 5-year plan. I'd been working full-time at a logistics firm, diligently building up my savings. No fancy vacations, no big splurges, not even a decent gaming setup. Every single paycheck, I'd funnel what I could into a high-yield account I simply called First Home. It wasn't just a dream, it was the dream. My escape. My someday. I honestly didn't mind living in that converted attic above the garage for a bit longer if it meant finally getting the keys to a place that was truly mine. I'd spend late nights scrolling through listings, picturing a tiny backyard, imagining how I'd paint the walls. That quiet kind of quiet, you know? The one where there aren't footsteps above your head or the sound of your dad's TV bleeding through the floorboards. My parents knew I was saving. They even used to make little comments about how disciplined I was. Last Christmas, my dad, Thomas, clapped me on the back and joked, "You'll own a house before you own a new pair of shoes." We both laughed. Back then, it felt like we were on the same team. The dynamic at home wasn't toxic, not in an explosive way, but it definitely wasn't balanced. My younger sister, Chloe, moved out at 21, but even now, at 25, she had this undeniable magnetic pull on our parents. Every time she walked in, they'd light up like the sun had just entered the room. She'd tell stories about her marketing job, and they'd hang on every word, like she was delivering a TED Talk. If I ever mentioned anything about my work, it was always, "That's nice, dear," followed by an immediate pivot to Chloe's latest accomplishment. Recently, she got engaged to a really polite guy named Noah, who was very clean-shaven and very into craft cocktails. Wedding planning took over every dinner conversation, even though the big day wasn't until next year. Still, I kept my head down. I was used to being the afterthought, the responsible one, the quiet fixer. Need someone to help move a couch? Lucas. Can't figure out the printer? Lucas. Someone has to wait for the new dishwasher delivery? Lucas, again. I didn't complain. It felt like part of the deal, live at home, help out, keep saving. I genuinely thought we had an understanding. But over the past couple of months, things started to shift. Strange comments, questions about my savings that didn't feel like idle curiosity. One night at dinner, my mom, Eleanor, casually asked, "How much do you have saved now? You must be close to a down payment, right?" I remember a jolt in my chest, like being called on in class when I hadn't studied. Bottom left of screen, click full story.